Okay, so there are obviously a lot of groups here trying to confuse you about who's who and what is right and what is wrong, and trying to make it seem like I'm evil. They've done things in a certain way where if I put up another light bulb on the chandelier or whatever that thing's called, that fixture, it will mess up my eyes a whole lot. So I have to use this degree of lighting. And doing it in the morning is a good idea because there's no TV playing in the background. There's less noise. So they want to confuse you about that. So again, we all know the colonial groups, the white Jews, LGBT community. No offense has to be said, okay? And their spirits are the ones that dominated the world. And the Bible says Satan is the god of this world. That has to be taken into account. Who stayed natural and righteous and true to God, and who conform with him. Obviously, I'm the only one doing God's work. And after I'm gone, there will be no way to connect to God. So let's look at Psalm 22 through 30, and let's overkill this again. With just one psalm, you should be able to come to that conclusion if you really think about what it's saying. Okay, Psalm 22. Again, this is what Jesus quotes, one of the last things he said in the New Testament before he stops breathing, right? He dies and goes to heaven. 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? Okay, so he talks about how his heart turns to wax, and they pierce his hands and feet and divide his garments. Spiritually, Satan's view is that you should go through the motions of this and pretend that Lucifer is Jesus. So that's part of why they're suppressing my videos, even though it makes no sense, even though people don't believe them. They know that what they do is wrong. They know what they believe is wrong. They know they're worldly governing class people, Zionist state people, what have you. I mean, no one has any doubt in their mind about that. They just bully people, right? Baal and bull, and Zeus is the Greek form of Baal, and he's associated with bulls, and so on and so forth. Okay. Talks about his strength comes from God. He wants God to come quickly. Wants the sword of God to save his life. He pleads he pleads to be saved from the quote-unquote power of dogs. Okay, again, the Canaanite woman, this is the Canaan, Sodom and Gomorrah, people after worldly gain, the rich, etc. The people don't obey God through me. They're dogs that don't have the human intelligence to do the right thing. Okay, a little bit chilling here. From the mouth of lions, the horns of wild oxen. Also wants to be saved. The devil in 2 Peter or 1 Peter, whatever it is, talks about the devil is like a roaring lion. Okay, so the mouth in more than one way being devoured, their lies, their psychology, whatever. The horns of wild oxen, the kings of this world, bulls, oxen, there's a thin line between the two. They carry carts, they carry a load of bullshit, and so on and so forth. God shows faith and rescues him. Again, it's important. Because they confuse this, I have to straighten this out. It is not a Jewish face. It is not the face you see in these videos, probably in any video that I have or any picture that you'll see, because they edit them. Okay, these people are nuts. They're the types of people that have all these females acting like witches, all these racist Trump fans, you know, they're crazy. Okay, the people behind the corporate state, their governing families, are 400 of them. Some people say there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of their family members. They have some genetic disorder that prevents them from doing the right thing. To him, much is given, much is expected. They're given all this wealth and all this power, and look how they use it. Look at the state of the world. There's no confusing the fact that they're crazy. They're dumb if they think they can. So it's not a Jew face. It's not a gay face. Not a Western face. The voice of God isn't my God. Excuse me. They caused me to stumble my words using technology. Long story why that is. The voice of God is not a Western voice. Okay? The God of the West is not God. When they say one nation under God, they do not mean the one true God. They mean El and Baal and Apollo and all this nonsense that has to do with the governing class family lines. They're statues made after the kings of the pagan world and so on and so forth. They do not worship God. And that is why they do things the way they do. And they say, God bless you to people and so on and so forth. But they don't mean it because they're saying that the governing class that literally gives you your bread, that God allows them to, but they literally give you the bread, the corporations, that's who they want you to praise. They're very, very, very sick and they know that's no way to live your life, that's pitiful, and that's no way to face your maker in death, that's no way to raise your kids to face your maker in death. So that's what Proverbs says, one who, the lying lips detest those that it lie to. That's a key example of that, detest the ones that they lie to. Okay. So God declared his righteousness to a people not yet born. Okay, so they're going to be born again in the land of the living. We'll get to that in the spiritual realm. The promised land is the land of the living. The earth is the footstool. It's the top layer of the realm of the dead. And I am the gate to the living, right? Talking about Zion and Israel in the spiritual realm, right? The New Jerusalem, not Israel on earth. Okay, that is a key center for the realm of the dead, a key point like Washington, D.C., London Square, etc. This is the place where some of the main devils are said to dwell by the Jews themselves. Okay, and of course, you can imagine, I agree. Okay, so it's stupid when people themselves are saying in their book and they're saying it's evil and so on and so forth. Oh, you can't say that, right? It's retarded, right? I'm sure we can all agree. Anyway, so evil people are offering their worship to the rich, and they go down to the dust. And Jacob, the Jews of this world, the synagogue of Satan in Revelation, are said to be like an ancient serpent that devours the dust. So you put together several scriptures. I didn't put them here, but that's what it's saying. It's that they're a worm, they're a brood of vipers, they're a dragon, they're a dust-eating dragon. So people go down to the dust, they get devoured because they follow the wicked people of this world. The end of Isaiah 66, they go down to the realm of the dead following their misleaders. Okay. 23, God leads the righteous to quiet waters and prepares a table in the presence of their enemies. His rod and staff comfort and guide the righteous and the king along the right path, the way of righteousness along the paths of justice, not to be devoured by the spirits, by the cultures, subdued by the spirit of the LGBT community, the spirit of the white supremacists, the Jewish supremacists, the eugenicists, the people forcing people to do a certain way, people who have convinced them to not obey God through me, which is the only way not to be devoured. 24, I have clean hands and a pure heart. No idol or false god is before me. I don't worship idols or false gods. When I say Horus, I mean the son of God, the top martial artist, who God set apart as the top martial artist, who's a mighty warrior before the God, like it says in Genesis, who's the truly anointed king in Psalm 89, Psalm 24. We'll get to that, okay? There's no false idol, no paganism, no witchcraft, no sorcery, no psychology. I just tell the truth, and I have a clean hands and a pure heart, and my sacrifice and my moral precision, while my enemies try to criticize me and can't say anything. They don't know what to say, because there's nothing they can say, because I'm doing the right thing. They just say nonsense, and gaslight and say stupidity, because I'm doing the right thing. And I can stand before God and say, I did you justice in every way, and that I've cut them down to the realm of the dead for their rebellion. In 2021, there's no excuse. The information age, their exact stance, their exact spirits and cultures and nations and groups. Anyway, I seek God's face, and in my lifetime I've achieved it to some degree. They interfere with fumes and technology, but underneath that was still the face of God. It says, lift up your hands, you gates, right? I'm the gate, so I can be lifted up, okay? You ancient doors, I'm the ancient martial art order, the ancient African martial art order is in me, that the King of glory may come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. So what is the true spirit? It's the Lord strong and mighty. The Lord mighty in battle is the true spirit. Okay, 25. So I just look behind me, because sometimes there's fumes in the air, and you kind of wonder if someone's creeping up on you in certain zones. I'm not really worried about that. 25. Do not let the enemies triumph in principle. Okay, spirit. One way to define spirit is animating principle, seat of character and emotion, prevailing tendency, motivating force. So what is, all victories are in principle, the principle that animates, that brings you to life. So what was my path? What was my aim? Like it says in the Exodus, I am who I am that I am what I will be. What is my aim? What is my motivating principle? Where am I going with this? Universal pinpoint and more precision, focus, more intensity. Anyway, Plea. Okay, so there's so he says, don't let the enemies triumph in principle, and it's his plea, right? That's what it means to truly triumph. We'll get to that momentarily. Those who trust in God will never be put to shame. Teach me your paths. Judge me in your truth. Guide me in your truth. The good and upright is who the Lord guides. Okay? He guides the humble in what is right. So God is good and upright. He guides the good and upright, the humble in what is right. Also those who fear God, okay, obey the truly upright and become upright. Okay, that's what it's getting at. It says, free me from the snare. That person, David is caught in the snare. He's lonely, okay, has troubles of his heart. His enemies are numerous and they fiercely hate him. He said, may my integrity and uprightness protect me. So what are the principles we're looking for? Integrity, uprightness. When they're filming me and doing all this stuff, causing me to make minor mistakes in my videos, okay, I corrected them all. Okay, there were minor mistakes. They were more than understandable. He who leads upright along the wrong path will fall into his own trap, but the blameless will receive a good inheritance. With everything considered, I'm blameless. Okay, my integrity and my uprightness and my intention and how it became my intention. It's not madness, it's martial arts with mental clarity. It was a true intention, a true voice. Even though they're changing the sound of my voice. So true to voice, so to speak, in truth. 26. Test my heart, examine my soul. I abhor evil. Doers, don't take me with the wicked. Again, he's testing the heart, examining the heart. Is it pure? What are your intentions? What are your motives? The Lord weighs the heart. The Lord weighs the motives. 27. The Lord is my light and my stronghold. I have no fear. When the wicked advance against me, they stumble and fall. Why? In principle, they fall. They fail. Rome, look how far the descendants of the Romans and the Jews have fallen for crucifying Jesus. They couldn't produce a single righteous person as a public figure, though they own the media and so on and so forth. When did they ever produce this? Because they fell. They stumbled and fell from persecuting people like me. Okay. The real truth, the way, the truth of life versus their psychology. It's stupid. I will not fear even in war. I only ask to dwell in the house of the Lord all my life and to seek him in his temple, even though his father and mother forsake him. Okay, God receives him. False witnesses rise against me, rise against him. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. In the land of the living. Why? The way, the truth, and the life. Righteousness, justice. God is a God of justice and righteousness. Psalm 50, Isaiah 16:5, seeking justice and righteousness and speeding the cause of justice and righteousness. Okay. The promised land for the truly righteous. Take heart and wait for God. 28. If God remains silent, David will go down to the pit. Do not drag, he's saying, do not drag him away with the wicked, with those who do evil, those who speak cordially with their neighbors, but have malice in their hearts. The Lord weighs the heart. Repay them for their evil deeds and not respecting the work of God's hands, right? Martial arts, right? The works of martial arts. The Lord's works is 15:3. Isaiah 42:13. God will march out as a champion, a mighty warrior. Psalm 19, so on and so forth. Okay, they don't respect the warrior arts, the warrior spirit, the warrior principles of God. That's why they shun me for scum, and they raise their daughters to do that, and so on and so forth. All right. God is his strength and his shield. His heart trusts in God, as does mine. He's the strength for people, a fortress of salvation for the anointed one. I'm the last one possible, last anointed one ever possible. Be their shepherd and carry them. No lost sheep are after I'm gone. 29. The voice of the Lord thunders over waters. Remember, they changed my voice and so on and so forth. It is powerful. It strikes with flashes of lightning, not El, Baal, or Zeus or anything like that, but the true voice of God. Okay, God sits enthroned over the flood. He shakes the deserts of Kadesh. He strips the forest bare. Don't let enemies gloat over me. Don't let him bring me to the realm of the dead. Is what he's saying. After calling, God spared him from the pit. His royal mountain stood firm.